Welcome to another episode of Golden Nuggets Tea and Tales Season 2, powered by Husby, served today by Lee Jenkinson of Husby. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Now, Lee's been in the industry for just under 2 years now, and there is a stat that says 86% of real estate agents will quit within their first year. Now, you've made it to year 2. Was there ever a time in the first year or even in the first 2 years where you thought about quitting, and why didn't you? What happened?
So my first year was in leasing, and then moved companies, and then went into sales. So this year went into sales, and coming from someone who had no real sales experience, I decided the best thing to do was to go into JGE and sell 20 million dirham villas.
JGE being Jumeirah Golf Estates, which is a big, luxurious development.
Yes, yeah.
So you just, set your sights super high.
Yeah, super high. But at all the enthusiasm in the world, I was like, I'm going to do this. It'll be no problem. 20 million, not a problem at all.
Is the JGE Instagram handle available for me to...
Yeah. It turns out it wasn't actually, but I was...
Nice for checking.
Exactly, yeah. And then so it got about 3-4 months in, not a listing in JGE. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, okay, rentals, all right, you can get away with it, but sales is different, gravy,
right.
to be
so
honest.
So had you already done some rentals in JGE?
Yeah.
Like, why JGE?
Some just because in my previous company, you go to your brokerage and you could get given a given area. Mm-hmm. So it was JGE in the green community is my sort of bread and butter.
Okay.
But then I thought, okay, actually, I'm going to go into sales. I'm going to make my mark and I'm going to make things happen. And it didn't really transpire the way I thought it was going to. Mm-hmm. And then it got about 3-4 months in with not really listings or anything online. And then it took me about, I think around month 4, I was like, wow, okay, this is getting tough.
So 4 months worth of no results, no listings, no sales, no close hits. Nothing?
I would say the closest I was getting was I was doing loads of meetings, but it was working like, say, 70, 80 hour weeks, just blasting out, doing as much as possible, getting loads of meetings, but it wasn't quite transitioning into listings and everything like that.
So if like someone at home to just try and imagine working a 70, 80 hour week with absolutely no results, no income even.
No.
How were you getting by?
Well, I'd thankfully done very, very well in rentals and had a bit of a cushion there. And then went in, when it was going into sales, I just thought, okay, this is the way this is going to happen, which didn't turn out that way. But
so you
then
budgeted for... all those $20 million.
Yeah. I was like, okay, well, if I sell one of them a month, I'll be okay.
Be fine,
of course. But then it was getting to the point, and then I actually had done a thing called DXB Success, which was something that was ran by Mark Castley, who has been on this show, I believe.
Yes.
And then went to that, and I was like, okay, actually, this isn't working at all.
Okay.
So
So that was your switch.
Yeah, my tipping point. Because like I've got 2 options here. I can continue what I'm doing for another 4 months and not just put at risk my time at Dubai, but and the mental side of things as well. So went and seen that, cornered Mark for like a coffee one day, which he was nice to meet up with me, told me a couple of things, so just went away and just completely changed my approach. Right. And then it went from like having nothing, and then it got to about 6-7 months in, and I went from no sales and then closed like 3 sales in the space of like 4 weeks. Right. And it was really just that sheer persistence and like will to actually make it happen, because I feel like this industry, it's a very, very tough industry, but I feel like it's one of them industries that if you put the work in to that level, it's eventually going to turn into dirhams.
But you were putting in the work in.
Oh, ridiculous amounts.
And did you identify where you might have been going wrong?
Yeah.
Where was it?
Going for the big tickets immediately. Because in any other industry in the world that you work in, when you go into, you're not going to go after... Well, some people do in Dubai, and they can do it very, very well. But I think that going straight in like 20 million, not the best idea. But if you're going in and like you're going after, say, the lower ticket items and working your way up slowly... I think that's a more sustainable way to grow your career.
A nice approach. And so those sales that you closed,
Yeah.
what range were they in? And were they in JGE?
No, they actually weren't. Surprisingly, actually, the first one, believe it or not, and the first one was actually in Creek Harbour,
Complete opposite.
yeah,
end,
completely, complete ends of the scale. The first one was in Creek Harbour, and I think from everyone who's watching this, it was just like I decided to just take drastic action immediately, go into a high transacting area, got my sale there. The next one was in the green community, completely opposite ends of the spectrum, for a bungalow, which was actually the highest bungalow ever transacted in the green community.
Oh, so you broke a record.
Record holder, yeah, absolutely buzzing about it. Yeah, so and then actually transacted that, and then off that, a referral came in for an actual off-plan property as well, which was actually down in the marina, but it was a referral through the client that I met in that. So it went from nothing to like bang, boom, boom, and
Got your confidence back.
Exactly. And then after that, I was just like, okay, it's time to take it up a notch and start the project domination of Dubai.
Okay, so what's the next step?
So now I've joined Husband under the stewardship of like Mark, who knows his stuff. For me, it's like building up them listens and all, but for me now, it's more to being the very best agent in Dubai as opposed to another agent in Dubai. And I've sort of got things mapped out for me on how I'm going to approach that. But I feel like the way that I do things is quite different to a lot of different. I know every agent will say that. They do. A lot of my sort of approach is through videos and through video interactions as opposed to sending WhatsApps. I do a lot of calls and all, but a lot of it is primarily through videos.
How?
So
Will you send like video notes?
Video WhatsApps.
Okay, yes. Many people don't know about this little trick. So instead of sending a voice note, press and hold the camera and it'll come up as a video note.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it'll just feel like you're coming through their screen.
Yeah, and I'm with my voice and a big smile. Sometimes they do, to be honest with you. But I do that a lot over WhatsApps and then also through socials as well. More like instead of having someone film it, just actually holding the camera like that.
Well, Mark's very good at that.
Yeah, he is very good at it, I have to say. But yeah, so going from, and if anyone's sort of going through that difficult time, as I'm sure a lot of agents are in Dubai real estate, if you just keep on persisting at it and just doing things consistently in the right fashion, it will eventually
land.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And at what point did you feel like I have to quit?
I did not come to Dubai to have a second option to leave. It was more like, I'm going to make this work no matter what.
Right.
But I would say about 4 or 5 months in, where I did no listens, no sales or anything, it gets pretty tough. Like, but now I'm sitting here starting to work for Husby 2 years in, and now I'm on my 6th sale as well.
So anyone that's out there thinking of quitting, or what would your top 3 tips be?
Top 3 tips would be, first of all, there is no better place to live in Dubai. So if you're having a tough day, like, this is the best place in the world to be.
You could just pop to the beach and go for a little walk.
Pop to the beach, go and play some golf, go to a nice restaurant. Second thing is, I'm a firm believer now that your morning routine is one of the most important things of your work life. Like, I wake up every morning at 10 to 5. Every morning at 10 to 5, wake up, not so much this week, but try and go to the gym every morning, meditate, journal. And I'm usually in the office for like 7:30.
Wow.
Half 7, 7:45, leave at maybe 7. But I've been doing that for such a consistent amount of time that it's eventually going to reap its rewards. And then the third thing is, when you do make sales and you do make leasing, is to actually reward yourself as well. Because otherwise you're just stuck in a treadmill.
So how did you reward yourself on those days?
Well, I went to Nepal.
What's that?
Nepal.
Oh, Nepal.
The country.
Okay. I was like, the Pal? Is that like a pub down in...
Yeah. So I actually went to Nepal with my lovely lady, and I just went on like a wellness retreat, really, to be honest with you. Tried to keep the phones in airplane mode as you could, because I had another deal going on, which is an amazing country. Seeing the Himalayan mountains from 3 different angles is always delightful.
Okay, all right, so treat yourself.
For me, it's more like having designated times to take a break. So for me, next year, it's every 3 months, going away for like 5 days or a week.
Okay,
I think super important.
All right, brilliant. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.